Welcome to our last week studying the life and work of Johannes Brahms. This week we are going to spend some time learning about Brahms' personality and character. So, what was Brahms like? Brahms was a loyal and generous friend. As we learned in week 1, he had many long-term friendships with other musicians, including the Schumanns and Johann Strauss, another famous composer. Brahms loved nature as well. He enjoyed taking walks outside, and one of the most well-known facts about Brahms is that he often carried candy with him to give to children. Sounds like a nice guy. But Brahms became known as being a grumpy and sarcastic person. At the same time, however, those who knew him could see that he was also loving and supportive. He gave a lot of money away, often without telling others. Sometimes he gave this money to his family members, and he also supported some musicians. He was a successful musician during his lifetime, but even though he had money, he lived simply. Brahms was also a perfectionist. He wanted his music to be as good as it could be. He had very high standards for himself and didn't always meet those standards. He actually destroyed many of his pieces before they were published. Some people say that Brahms had trouble with this because his friend Robert Schumann predicted that he would be another great composer, like Beethoven. Brahms felt a lot of pressure to live up to this prediction. It's hard to believe that someone as good at composition and as famous as Brahms could still feel unsatisfied with his work. Those pieces weren't good enough for Brahms, but I bet thousands of people would love them if they could only hear them. It's easy for musicians today to struggle with the same thing that Brahms struggled with. So, as we all practice and do our best to learn our music well this year, I hope we can find joy in showing what we've learned. We don't learn music so that we can be perfect. We learn music so we can find joy and give that joy to others when we play for them. For this week, I would like you to listen to the first movement from Brahms' second piano concerto. A concerto is a showy piece written for a single instrumentalist to play with an orchestra. This concerto is extremely difficult. Brahms uses the French horn quite a lot in his music, as I mentioned last week, so listen for how the piano and the horn interact in the beginning of the concerto. I bet you'll find it beautiful. This wraps up our study of Johannes Brahms. I hope you have enjoyed learning a bit more about who he was. Have fun listening to our final piece.